Hey everybody, this is my first YouTube video here. I'm going to be painting one of the 8bound from Warhammer 40k World Eaters. I really like how these guys look. I didn't really want to put the armor on them just because there's a lot of detail here, both with the implants they have from their armor and tubing and stuff like that. A lot of cool detail to these guys, but going to be painting them up and you can join me on my way. I'm going to be painting the skin tone first here. Going with Bugman's Glow, if I can get that into the camera. Just as a nice base coat for the skin tone. Next, we're going to be doing the blue parts of the armor, which isn't really much on these guys, but we're going to do a blue right up on his breather here and the inside of the mouth right on there. So not too much, but for that we're going to be using Macragge Blue, just as a nice little base to that. So let's get started. Up on the 8bound, and I now realize I was recording in portrait, not landscape, because I'm recording for YouTube, not TikTok, so sorry about the beginning of this. We are going to be doing the segments right here, which is the cloth on the weapons. There's just a little bit on this one, but mainly we're looking at this right here, and then we're going to do the cloth right in here, which goes around the back as well. We're going to be doing that in corn red, just as our nice little base coat. Next, what we're going to be doing is the horns and cabling just throughout the model. Not the nails or any like the actual chain material yet, but just the main horns coming out the sides here, tubing going up the arm. Maybe I'll do these little implants as well, black. I might do those silver as well. Tubing on the neck here. And we're going to be doing that in Abaddon Black. Next, we're going to be doing all of the bronze parts on the armor. So that's going to be a lot of the trim in here, the teeth, the outside of the weapons. Not going to be doing the silver bit or the teeth in bronze. That's going to be a nice silver. The edges right here as well. Mainly just a lot of the armor trim. But to do that, we'll be using Balthasar Gold. This paint, for a lot of people, is hit or miss on whether it's actually halfway decent or not. I found going over white primer or a lighter color works a lot better than going over a dark primer like Abaddon Black. But let's get to it. Alright, now we have all the bronze done on the model, the armaments, the armor trimming, the little mask right there. Now we're going to go through and get all the silver done. So that's like the chains here, a little more rigid tubing on the weapon, the main frame of the weapons here, the chains, and of course the butcher's nails. The little implants as well. We're going to go ahead and doll those up with a little bit of silver and these last little pieces on the mask. Now that we have all the base coats on, we'll be ready to shade them out. I'll run through the base coats real quick. For the skin tone, we use Bugman's Glow. For the red, Corn Red. The black, Abaddon Black. That brassy color, we used Balthazar Gold. And then for the silver, we used Lead Belcher, and the blue, we used Macragge Blue. Now we're going to go over and hit the whole thing with a pretty heavy wash of Nuln Oil. It might look a little sacrilegious because I'm going to absolutely cake him in there, but that's how I get that really worn down, dirty look that I can build highlights off of later, make it look really battle worn. But let's get started. With this, we want to start on more of a flat spot like his back here. We're really going to slather this model down and work it around. Don't want to pool too much in some spots. We really want to hit that white with it though. Once again, we're going to be really, really generous with this. Making sure to get all that nooks and crannies on there. So while he is drying, I'm going to be kind of explaining my highlighting process here. I like to do my highlighting as if there's just, a light above the model or a light above the object that's beaming down and causing the highlights that we would see naturally on this model. So all the raised portions will be getting a highlight as opposed to just highlighting the edges of the model. That way it looks like he's more realistic, more highlighted in the worldscape, if that kind of makes sense. But to be doing the highlights, we'll be doing the skin tone with Cadian Flesh Tone. And then maybe some, what is this one called? Rakarth Flesh for some very high raised portions, maybe on the face here. Then for the black, we'll be going over it with Corvus Black or Corax. I believe it's Corvus Black. And then hitting it with Mechanicus Standard Gray on just the tips of the edges or the very sides of the pieces here. Moving on to the red, like on the handle here, we'll be using Mephiston Red on the raised portions to bring it up, and then some Evil Sun Scarlet on just a couple of the parts that are the highest part of the model. The blue, we'll be hitting that with a Calgar Blue, and then maybe Fenrisian Gray or Temple Guard Blue, depending on kind of what highlight I want to go with. For the silver, we'll be hitting it just with Stormhole Silver. That brings it up nicely. And for the brassy sections, we'll be using Liberator Gold. Let's get into it. So now that we got this boy all highlighted up, see we got that flesh tone going, have all the metal having that nice kind of bronzy off gold look to it. Chasing that highest edge where that light source is coming from. What we're going to do now is we're going to gore him up, because this is much too clean to be a World Eater. To do that, we're going to use a very old dry brush that I have and just kind of splotch around the model to get the blood splatter effect onto him. Another technique that can also be used is loading up a brush, having a straw or something, airbrush to, and blowing air onto the brush to kind of flick the paint onto the model to get that nice splatter effect. We're also going to use Blood for the Blood God and get it all up in these teeth on these chain weapons. And lastly, for the blue that we have remaining on him, his mask and that little symbol down there, right in his midsection, we're going to take some Blood Angels Red Contrast and just very lightly go over that. So that way it looks and gives the illusion to, there used to be blue under all that blood. So let's get at it. here is our finished 8bound. Got that nice gore effect on him. Can still see plenty of our highlights underneath it all. You don't want to do so much gore as the model starts to lose detail, or that starts to become kind of the main attraction of the model. Like, hey, it's bloody, that's neat. And you don't look at the rest of the work that you put into it as kind of being the main attraction of the model. Overall, I really like the sculpts of these models. They're cool. I love how the World Eaters have their own unique possess now. I do like the armor on these models as well. The armor is really cool. It's really cool, really nice sculpt, but I just opted for not having armor on them because it gives them that kind of worn gladiatorial feel on them. Last step for this model, of course, would be to base it however you choose. I usually just do a Strickland mud on the bottom of these guys, and I kind of work it on the feet so that way it looks like they're walking through the terrain. But I will be continuing to do these tutorials, or kind of just how I paint in general from now on. I'll be doing an Alaris Custodian in my scheme next time. Please give me feedback on recording, content, what you guys want to see, what you don't want to see, etc. But thanks for your time.